1 second, boss. 1 second.
I'll have to apologize because I don't know how great the service is. So if it doesn't sound good, just hang up on me.
No, never. I never hang up on you, but give me a second. I'll put this music on mute. There we go. All right, so I know you hear me in the mic, but you have to lower down the show that you have on if you have it on.
Nah, just in my headphones. There we go.
Then that's perfect for me. And I believe this is let me see. I want to get this right. It's called All Games Network, right? AGN?
All Games Network, AGN.
All right, so guys, listen up really quick. Welcome back to Morant's Rants. Plenty of good information, a little bit of motivation, whole lot of truth, no financial advice. We have another launch day creator here for you guys. This is GameStop's creator, All Games Network. So your name, sir?
My name is Scott. So Scott Rubin. I have been, whatever you're doing right now, you're sitting in front of a computer, You're looking at a bunch of chatters, you're receiving information from multiple sources, and you're doing it all by yourself. You're the producer, you're the host, you're the audio engineer, you're the executive in charge of promotion, you're the marketing director, and you're the CEO. And let me tell you, I was doing this 25 years ago in my apartment in New York City. And when I've been listening to you this morning and to some of your previous shows.
Yeah.
And I know just how you make it look very easy. And I know you've been doing this for a while, but I want people who are listening to this to understand what this man is doing right now is not easy.
Thank you, man.
And it is refreshing to hear, to listen to you. And every time I think, okay, this is where he could go this way, or he could go this way. And every single time you come to the fork in the road where I go, is this guy a fool or is this guy for real? And every single time you land on the side of reality, on the side of truth, on the side of inspiration and information. And it's not just a talk you're talking, you're walking the walk. So I just want to let people know, as someone who was live on the internet for 15 straight years back before people had broadband, this man is doing the work and he's putting it in. And he's doing a great job.
That shit, man. I can't be walking around all blushing. What the hell's wrong with you? I'm just sitting here. In my house grinding this shit out in real time.
And that's what I did 25 years ago. And what I saw was the internet was going to change the world. And I was at Brooklyn College. I was writing for a music magazine called Relics. It was about the Grateful Dead. It was just about the Grateful Dead scene. And I was working there while I was at Brooklyn College. I wanted to be a talk show host, a radio guy, a TV guy. And so I noticed that music CDs were showing up inside the offices every day. I go to pick up the mail and there was like music CDs. And I'm like, wow, why are they sending us all these free music CDs? And the editor of the magazine said to me, well, they want us to review them. And I was a broke college kid at that point. I was not a kid. I was 23. I had left college to go work as a bartender in the Caribbean for a few years when I got out of high school. And then I ended up in New York City, back at school, learning about television and broadcasting. And a light bulb went off in my head, man. It said, wait a minute. I can say I'm going to review video games, and the people that make video games will send me video games. And literally that was the light that went off in my head. And myself how to make a web page. It was HTML 1.0. And I said, well, I'm going to make a web page where I write about whatever's going on with video games, because that's all I really cared about, video games and the Grateful Dead at that point. So I, every day, would go to this website and HTML, and href equals, and do all that stuff, and I would copy it right out of like a magazine called NetGuide. And what I did was I began blogging about games, but I really wasn't one for writing a lot. I had a big mouth, so I wanted to talk. Okay. I had been listening to talk radio my whole life, so I decided I was going to get a microphone and plug it into my computer and start talking about games. And I called up these game publishers and I said, I read GamePro magazine, and you guys get like 4 sentences and a screenshot in there, and that's it. And I said, wouldn't it be great if the guys that make your game could have a conversation with me about what the process was like? Like, these guys are like filmmakers to me, right?
Right.
So can we do an interview? And they were like, oh my God, no one's ever asked us to do a phone interview. We can do an interview.
I know all about it, man.
And that's what I did. And so now, 25 years later, the internet radio and television network I started in the late 90s and early 2000s, it all got locked away in a storage vault, right?
Wow.
And I moved out here to California in 2000 to start G4 TV, which was the video game TV network. The president of Walt Disney Television found me in New York doing my internet radio and internet TV, and he said, I'm leaving Disney and I want to start a television network about video games, but I don't know anything about video games. And he said, I went to my buddy at Harvard, who's now a professor at Dartmouth College, and I said, how do I get the guy that can help me build a video game TV network? And they put a bunch of college kids in a room, and remember, this is 1999, 1998, so the internet was still a subculture. It was 56K, it was dial-up, and we had, I had listeners from 140 countries, but they were all like techs and geeks. The mainstream didn't give a crap about the internet or internet radio or internet TV. And so they found out that I had this pirate TV station, essentially, about video games, and he basically came and recruited me, and in 2000, we moved out, all of us, from New York to LA to build the G4 TV network, and about 8 months after I left, 9/11 happened, and everybody at that TV network where I was lost their job, and all the content that we created got put into a storage locker in upstate New York, and it was locked away for almost 20 years. And so I have these tapes now. They've never been on YouTube. They've never been on Instagram. They've never been anywhere.
Oh, that's cool.
I happened to run in one night, late night on Twitter, to one of the engineers from GameStop. Now, I had been a GameStop guy from day one when Melvin Capital decided to try to pull the rug out from under them.
Another investor. I love this.
That's right, from day one.
Yeah.
And so the idea that on the week that this split and everything that's been happening, that the marketplace launching, all of my chips had been essentially pushed into the middle of the table, right? And so this opportunity to create the marketplace content, using content, animation. I have interviews with Cliffy B before he created Unreal. I have interviews with the guys that created the original Xbox. I have interviews with the guys. I have interviews where it's days of E3 coverage before there were any streamers. So it's like you could walk around the floor and there was nobody there. And so, I feel like if I had done this with Patreon, right? Nobody would be writing articles on what a horrible person I am because I'm asking people to subscribe to content and support the release of these archives. But because I said, hey, what about using the blockchain to give people not just a subscription, but maybe some equity in the project? And then, you know what? The blockchain verifies those people. So less fuckery, right? Why is it so bad? Why do these game sites like Kotaku and Ars Technica, why are they writing articles about NFTs as though they're crack cocaine? Like, no one would write a story about New York. It's a terrible place because there's drugs and crime there. No, New York has great things about it. Sure, you can write about the bad things. And what I feel like is happening is these social justice warriors on Kotaku and these other sites, they're so blinded by their own passions and justice causes that they don't realize that these are creators. This is people that are just like them, who maybe are choosing a different way to monetize their content. They're not going to some venture fund that bought a bunch of blogs so that they can chime in some articles that are approved by a guy who's in charge of dealing with hedge funds, right?
Correct.
Like, we're creators trying to reach people directly. There's a revolution in technology called cryptocurrency that's allowing that to happen. Can it be used for money laundering? Probably. Can it be used for porn? Probably. But so what? That's what the internet can do.
But that's the world.
So I think it's important.
Yeah,
I think it's important that everyone take a step back and realize that NFTs are not just pictures of monkeys. NFTs are WWW of 1996, meaning we have yet to scratch the surface of what this technology and what cryptocurrency and what NFTs can actually become. And so, I'm excited because the people at GameStop said to me, we don't even know what this is. We're figuring it out with you. We have a bunch of engineers, and so if you say, can you create a vote system using tokens so that people can directly influence the release of these videos and the order of these videos and request videos, and then maybe be a part of the monetization of these videos on YouTube? GameStop, they said, let's figure it out. Maybe we can work.
Yeah, they're going to make it work for you. What's the craziest part about this, Scott, and just as I look at it, because I hear where you're coming from, you know, shouting to the wind is what we do until it's fully adopted, right? And the adoption rate of technology this day and age is quick. It's fast. So you're at the forefront of this, but it's being independent, right? You're not relying on anyone but yourself at this moment. You can upload your own things. You can mint your own videos. And then people, if they choose to partake in it and support your movement, they can do it that way. I'll tell you, like, from my standpoint, I put my foot in the ground a long time ago where I was like, I'm not going to take anything from the people only because I'm part of the GameStop movement, right? But in this case, what I've asked everyone to do is understand that these creators that are on the GameStop network benefit us. So the drive to do great things on your page or on anyone's page, out of all the creators I've talked to, the drive of it is most of them are GameStop investors. Like, you guys are literally doing God's work, trying to push it up so you can find value in your GameStop shares as well. It's really uncanny that it's built off of the community, and it's not trying to, you're not trying to grift off of it. There's artwork in there, and if it's worth something, someone's going to pay for it. It's really that simple. And you guys keep your own royalties.
I explain to older people, you know, a lot of older people who, you know, I'm 53 years old, right? So I talk to people who are 63, 73 going, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah,
I say to them, do you know any wealthy people that own sculptures or paintings? They don't really sit and look at those paintings. What they do is they invest their money into those things. They're called assets. And then what they do is they borrow against them. So in order to sell one of those assets, they have to make sure that it doesn't get ripped, it doesn't get scratched, it doesn't get cracked. Then they got to go to a broker, maybe an agency like Sotheby's, who's going to then auction it off and manage that process and authenticate. All of those middlemen, those blood-sucking middlemen, are being stripped away with this new technology.
Absolutely.
Where I can create the art. I can promise you that the art that I sell to you today is the art that it was when I gave it to you, so that you don't end up buying a bad Mona Lisa, so you don't end up buying a fake Rembrandt. We are changing the way verification works, and it scares the hell out of people that don't understand it, just like they were scared when www came up. I had to spend years explaining to people that just because they don't understand the World Wide Web doesn't mean it's worthless. It's just worthless to you.
Yeah, but now they can't
someday
live without
it'll be worth to you.
Now they can't live without it. You got to have a phone.
I'm telling you, crypto today sounds a lot like the web of late 90s.
Yeah, well, I'm good. That means I just got to keep shouting at this machine here. You know, we had 1,400 people watch the show yesterday, and if that's all I've got, then I'll take it with me. I'm going to keep shouting at this camera all damn day. I love it, Scott. I really do. I think you're coming from a good place. I think yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that the marketplace is so well-rounded. You're like my 14th interview, right? And out of all the launch day creators, all these guys are around. And I don't want to just say launch day creators, but all the launch creators, because we're still in beta mode. And you guys are all giving me different reasons and pushing out like my creative juices. Like, what do I want to do next? And I hear you have a network and people are reaching out, and you know, you took a chance, you moved across country. Like, I've done none of that. I've had the ability through YouTube to just sit here and shout and get things rolling. But then when people offer me stuff, I'm like, I'm skeptical. I'm like, I really don't want to take that chance. It's like, you're actually taking those chances, and now it puts you right here in front of me. So it's pretty amazing, man. Full circle.
I think one of the things people need to remember is there are, I also have a liquid nitrogen ice cream business, right?
Okay.
And when I started making ice cream with liquid nitrogen, no way to mass produce liquid nitrogen ice cream. Everything is kind of old school, where you take the mix, you put it in this machine, and then it slowly churns out ice cream at like 20 degrees, right? And at that 20 degrees, it then gets put into another completely different freezer that's called the hardening cabinet, right? And so I went to the top engineers that create ice cream machines, and I went to them and I said, hey, I want to put some money into your pocket. I want to invent a machine that makes ice cream with liquid nitrogen. And they were like, liquid nitrogen? That's some kind of fad. And I listened to them, and I realized that I was the electric car guy going to the oil company and the old gas car companies and saying, hey, I'm going to make an electric car and I want you to build. And they go, are you kidding me? I make my money selling gas cars. I can't sell you an electric car because then my whole other business falls apart. And so there is a layer of wealth in this country. There's a layer of corporatation in this country, corporatism in this country that is just above where we are. And they are terrified that the ceiling that they have built is about to be smashed by decentralization, by individuals having the ability to take control. I tell people, I hear a lot of people that are young today get very disenchanted. Like, the world is a mess. Our parents screwed everything up for us. There's no opportunities. And I look at them and I say, are you kidding me? Do you realize where we are in history? If 10 years ago you wanted to be a television network, good luck. There were about 5 people that controlled that entire universe.
Yeah, you couldn't.
If you were a great singer and you wanted to be a musician, do you understand how difficult it was? There were a few people that controlled everything. And now, from your bedroom, ignoring your parents with a microphone and an iPhone or a laptop, you can literally put yourself out there. And if you have skills and if you have talent, the world will show up. I guarantee you. And the reason it doesn't just happen overnight, like, you will tell people, you have however many people watching your stuff, not from showing up and making a video now again. I was told very early on, the only reason I was able to get to the G4 TV and get that thing on the air is because I got advice from a radio guy once. And he said to me, if you're going to do this, I said I was going to do a weekly show at the beginning. He said, no. If you want to do this, you got to show up every day. You got to connect with these people every day. You can't mail it in. And so that's why when I listened to you today, I realized that you're doing something special. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your audience about it. But I really just wanted to wake people up and say, don't believe the narrative and don't listen to what the technology is now. Think about the internet and think about if you had believed people in 99 about what the internet would become when the dot-com collapsed and everything went to hell. If people had just believed it was over in old Media One, we would not be where we are today, where everything's on demand and streaming and beautiful individual choice.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. You're right. You're dead on. And you know what? It's refreshing. It's refreshing for a GameStop creator. And I say GameStop creator, but NFT marketplace creator, to have this insight and then to know why they're invested as well. So you've been with GameStop, and you know, I know for me, I love the split. I love everything they're doing as a company, and we support it. So I support you in your art that you have going out. What do you have coming out next? What's the plans coming out next?
Okay, so the most important thing was to be able to get some budget so that we can get some editing done and we can start to pull apart. Because I'm telling you, when I say I have 1,000 hours of programming from 1998 until 2010, it's literally a wall of tapes. There, some of them are digital video, some of them are audio cassette, some are mini cassette, some are beta SP, some are SVHS. And so the idea is like, do I just start with, well, today's what, July 23rd? I must have done at least 4 shows on July 23rd during that time. Should I just pull those out and play those today? Or should I try and find the first interview with the guy that created Grand Theft Auto? Like, is that the most interesting thing that people want to see first? Or do I go and find the first time I went to Tokyo and got a PlayStation 2 and was recognized on the streets of Japan from someone who was watching our show?
That's awesome.
Millions of miles away. Like, those are the kinds of questions that I had. Those are the kinds of things that I said, this is about letting the community decide, right? So if everyone wants to kind of, you don't even have to support it. If you don't want to put any money in, the content will eventually go up. So join the Discord. If you're into old school gaming, if you're into seeing what, you know, the birth of 3D gaming on the PC scene was like, we have Anand Shimpi. He's now the senior engineer at Apple. At the time, he was 12 years old, and he was creating content for our show called All Games Hardware. And he did a video called What is the Universal Serial Bus and how it's going to change everything. Well, he would go on to create the most influential blog on the planet, anandtech.com. And Anandtech is like they review everything that comes out. And now he's literally the senior engineer at Apple designing chips. So I got his videos from when he's 12. I want to put that up. Like, it's like a fountain of content from that era. And so I want the community to help us figure out what to put on the air and when it should come out. So the Discord, if people want to check it out,
sure,
they can go to allgames.com, ALLGAMES.com. I've had that domain since 1995. And so I hope they'll come by, check it out. You can see some of the old content on YouTube. I was one of the first people to begin streaming live on Twitch, right when it was called Justin.tv. Justin himself gave me a baseball cap with a webcam on it, and I used to walk around and live with a laptop in my backpack, streaming live 24/7 for about 6 months to a year before I got myself butt naked on the camera and decided that was the end of that.
Hey, Scott, you sound like me, except I keep my clothes on. But I'm with you, brother. No, this is awesome, man. You know, you inspire me because more so than just the GameStop marketplace shit, right? Which is not that. I don't want to just trivialize it, but I'm telling you because I have been shouting at a camera for the last year and a half, and I'm going to keep doing it till the day I die because it's what I enjoy.
I think I saw you first on TikTok, right? Like, I don't do TikTok anymore, but about a year ago, you know, I would just kind of look and see who's talking about GameStop, and are they shilling, are they scamming, or are they, you know, trying to FUD people?
Right.
And I just kind of, your personality comes across as very meat and potatoes, no bullshit, right?
Correct.
And you can smell bullshit, and all you got to do is watch enough of your videos to go, okay, this guy's, he's a straight shooter, he's talking facts, he's passionate, and he's open to listening to other people, but you don't get sucked into bad narratives. And I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to the stock market, because what I've learned, I didn't know anything about the stock market before this, but what I've learned is that the stock market is a rigged casino. Sure. And as long as you know that and you don't buy into false promises, just trust that Ryan Cohen, who has spent millions of his own money to undo what's going on, just trust him. Until he says, I blew it and screwed up, I'm going to follow his plan. Because what I see is loopholes that exist. And if you look at the data, you can make money with owning GameStop just by watching the flow of how these guys manipulate it. And I'm not talking about selling it, but essentially you have to understand there are day traders. Like, if you want to see how a day trader's mind works, you follow at Squawk Square. He's a Tesla bull, and he is very, very specific about what he sees pre-market and what he sees as his moves, and he posts everything. He's not I'm hiding it in my Discord, I'm paying my Substack. Right. He just says, I just bought 400 shares at this, and I'm in long at this, and I'm out. And these guys who have those pots of money, they do that with GameStop because it's profitable. And so you can't sit there and be like, it's being attacked by the hedge funds today, because sometimes it's just a bunch of day traders taking advantage of our ability to not sell, right? So they are using psychological techniques to scrape and scalp, whatever you want to call it, and it's all legal. And until the laws change, you can't sit there and cry that they're doing something illegal, because if it was illegal, Ryan Cohen would be in court. Like, there would be court cases, right? What they're realizing is you have to catch these guys with their dicks in their hand. And most guys, as you know, most dumb guys are more than happy to send you a dick pic picture, right? They're so dumb. Like January 6th, those guys were literally filming themselves breaking the law. And so if you give people enough rope to hang themselves, sometimes they will. And I have to believe that that's what's going on with GameStop right now, is there are a lot of people that have their foot already stuck in a rope, and they're trying to dance kind of like the Tom Cruise hanging in Mission Impossible. They're trying to avoid all those lasers, and Ryan knows it, and that's why he buys when he buys, and that's why he tweets when he tweets. And maybe it's not easy for us to understand now, but if you can't trust a guy that dropped $10 million a few months ago when it was selling at, I don't know, $100 a share,
it was 108, 120,
yeah, 120, whatever
gotcha.
it is. If you can't just believe that's your North Star, then you're in it for the wrong reason. Like, the North Star is he's going to come up with a plan, and if that plan doesn't work, guess what? He'll come up with another plan. He's not going to throw in the towel. There are too many people that believe that we can do something. Gaming has grown, and when I started gaming, there was a whole bunch of generations that never gave a shit about game. Well, guess what? Now, almost everyone on the planet has been a gamer at some point in their life, and it's only going to saturate more. So I believe in GameStop. I believe in what Ryan's doing. I believe gaming will be ubiquitous digitally, and I think this marketplace is allowing them to plant a flag in the sand and say, we're going to be here no matter what happens with digital gaming. And really, all you have to do is look what went on in the years before this happened. They didn't care about what happened to GameStop. It was very clear from the inside, the way the return policy, the used game policy, the employees, the way they treated them, they just didn't care about it. And you can see that there was someone saying, let's let this thing die, sell or box it. We'll never have to pay those shorts back. Screw GameStop and all those owners. And thank God for Ryan Cohen and Keith Gill and Rod Altman and all those guys, and Michael Burry, who all said, no, sorry, we see what you're doing here, and fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cultural shift between the leaders like Larry Chang. I know you're naming the board of directors if you're at a loss for them, but, Alan Adel, Larry Chang, and Ryan Cohen, the three that came over, yeah, these guys know exactly what's going that route. But from me to you, thank you for just bringing an uplifting spirit for myself on what I do and why I do it. And then, of course, GameStop itself. I always want to put spotlight on your collection, what's moving forward, what's coming. It seems like you guys have a wealth of knowledge and history out there, and I'm excited for it. So whatever you post, man, we're going to support it. I promise you that.
I will send you some stuff for you to share with your audience. And, of course, if anybody cares about any specific games or game makers from that time period, please hit me up, let me know, and I will dig through the archives and try and find it. There is some really cool stuff in there.
Hey, Scott, just so you know.
I don't even remember.
But just so you know, anything you send me, I give it away in a raffle because
there it is.
That's the way it goes down for me. I'm a man of the people. I give everything I can, but I know you are too. After hearing you and your story and the way you're going about it, I envy the 25 years plus you put in, and your life has purpose right now, brother, and I appreciate you.
Right on. So, hey, let's do another 25. Let's do this again soon.
Okay. Hey, Scott, honestly, you have my phone number. You call me, I'll pick up. I will pick up.
I will. Everybody listening, this man, he's the real deal. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate it, man. Peace.